financial psychology standpoint. It fits right into the space of stuff I wrote about in my dissertation. Also, some stuff that I spent a lot of time studying when I was at Syracuse University. And I was, at that time, I wasn't just a student. I mean, you're always a student. You should never stop being a student. But I was also a faculty member. And as a faculty member, we were, constantly writing these research papers and stuff like that. And so it's funny in academia, you spend all this time writing these research papers that not too many people read, but they're really hard to write, and you have to create. It's a really hard form of content creation because it takes months and months and months to write one paper, and you have to literally add to the frontier of human knowledge in the field. You can't just write stuff that somebody else already wrote. You literally have to write stuff that nobody else has ever thought about or heard, like in the history of your field. So it's kind of tough, kind of crazy. So anyway, with that being said, though, the benefit of doing that kind of analysis is that you have to go super deep. You have to go really, really deep. And this there's this guy named Roaring Kitty, and it's funny, his YouTube name actually is a deep name. It's deep effing value. And I've been trying not to cuss. I got a great compliment from one of y'all the other day where you told me that I haven't been cussing as much, and that's deliberate. That's intentional. I was really kind of like, okay, boys, come on, we got to find some other words to use, except cussing every time you get pissed off. And so thank you for the compliment. And for those of you that miss my cussing, the cussing voice, just know I'm trying to put him to bed. I'm trying not to scare everybody and traumatize people's children and all that. But every now and then, you might hear me, get pissed off about some shit. And then at that point, you're going to, would just have to kind of grin and bear it. All right. So anyway, how's everybody doing today? I hope you all are doing good. Last night we had a meeting in the Prime program with those of you that are generating income by selling stock options, which I think is an amazing way to make money. And if you have an interest in that kind of thing, I guarantee you it's going to change your life. It's not hocus pocus. I know a lot of you are used to going on the internet and being scammed by people that are giving you false hope and having you spend $20,000 learning how to do something that doesn't add value to your life. But we have a program. It's called Dr. Boyce Prime, and it stands for Passive Recurring Income Machine, and it works. Again, I'm a financial scientist, and so this is based on tried and true methods that many people have used for many, many years to generate income from stock options by engaging in risk management strategies that we cover in class. And if in case you want to know the background, I worked closely with a guy named Renee Stoltz in graduate school, who is one of the leading risk management experts on the planet, like Renee Stoltz, Renestulz. If you look him up, you can find him. And so I've spent a lot of time thinking about risk and trying to minimize your risk, but then also there's income opportunities out there. So if you have an interest in that and you missed last night's class, you can actually do a $1 trial in the Prime program. I'll send you guys the link. Make sure you're on the text list. Text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. So if you text morning to the number 87948, not only will you get an invitation to join the daily class that we do on financial consciousness and economic elevation, which is 100% free for the live sessions, you also can try the Prime program for $1, just $1, and you sit in, and I guarantee you sit through one training, it's gonna change your life and freak you out. And anybody who's a member of the Prime program, if you could shout something out to let people know that this is legitimate, that this actually works, that this is actually effective. And I think that that's important to know, because I see what the internet has. The internet has lots of people who don't know anything about finance, who took one class that was 2 weeks long and are now saying, I can teach you about stocks, I can teach you about options. And unfortunately, a lot of these people are very unqualified, and but they know how to convince you to give them lots of money, and then you don't get the result you're looking for. So by the time you get around to a guy like me, there's a lot of trust issues. There's like, oh well, I don't know, I already tried this and tried that, and I can say that it's I'm not going to criticize what's out there. I'm just going to say that what we have here in the Black Business School is legit. So feel free to try that out. I can send out the link later on today where you can do the $1 trial this weekend, Saturday, tomorrow. Tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Wait, hold on. Sorry, not tomorrow. Sorry, June 13th. June 13th, we're doing a special session called Prime 101. And Prime 101 is Prime for beginners. And that's basically where we will literally take you from wherever you are, whatever skill level you have. And I will literally teach you from the very beginning exactly what hundreds of students have done to generate a significant amount of cash flow from their stock. So if you have a little bit of money to the side and you can own some shares, people don't know that you can actually extract income from your stock without selling the stock. It's really, really cool. It's how I make my money. Like every week, I make my money this way, and I send the money over to my wife, and she pays the credit card bills. We go on trips with this money. So I know a lot of you are looking for extra money without having to ask your boss for a raise, without having to get a second job, without having to wait for Jesus to come and fix it for you. So this actually can put more money in your pocket, even if it's only a few $100s per month or a few thousand per month. It makes a difference. You know, that little bit of extra money can allow you to just do stuff that you might want to do. I sat with a grandmother yesterday who basically said she wanted to travel with her grandkids and her daughter and spend a little extra to take them places and stuff. And then I also sat with a single mom, same thing, same idea. And by the time we got done, we were all really happy because money is not, and this is where, and let's sort of segue into our conversation. Money is not the be all end all. Money is not the destination. Money is a tool. Money is a stop. Money is an asset in the sense that it can allow you to get access to the things that money can't buy. And so, anyway, oh, that's right. I forgot to mention the link. So, if you want me to send you that link to do the $1 trial, just get on the text list for this class. So, you'll get the free class and you'll get the link to do the $1 trial in Prime if you're interested. Text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. And if you text morning to 87948, I will send that to you. Okay, so anyway, let's dig into the deeper part of the conversation. So money is really something that that is this really powerful thing, and we talk about this every day. This is why we do our money in the morning sessions and our economic elevation, because our goal is to elevate our consciousness when it comes to money. The goal is to really help you see money in a way where you say, okay, I get it now. You know, I know where money is. I know what money can do. I know what money can't do. I know where I want to be and how to get there. And so what's really been going on is that you have these interesting things that happen every single day, because because I think a lot, and I've been doing the finance stuff for 30 something years. I'm always looking around and I'm seeing people's reactions to money. And by the way, the number is 87948, 87948. So somebody type the number 87948, text morning to 87948. So if somebody can help me with that, I appreciate it. Because when the questions come back and people say, well, what's the number again? It triggers my ADHD, and y'all don't want me, when my ADHD goes off, I'll be talking all over the place. So I don't want to do that to you this morning. All right. So, so anyway, right now you have a meme stock frenzy happening. How many of you have been following? Give me a yes in the chat if you've been following what's been happening with GameStop. Give me a yes if you follow what happened with AMC, if you follow what happened with just where these stocks just erupted. This is something that's never happened that I know of in the history of public markets and finance. I've studied the data going back to the 19th century, and I don't think there's ever been anything that erupted like that quickly. And it's really the internet. The internet kind of creates these new phenomena that we haven't had a chance to really study. And so with GameStop and AMC, there were a few financial concepts I wanted to introduce you to that I saw when I saw this meme stock thing sort of happening. And in the center of all this is this guy named his real name is Keith McGill. They call him Roaring Kitty. Has anybody heard of Roaring Kitty? And Roaring Kitty, in case you don't know, is this guy who's in the middle of the meme stock frenzy, who has literally made probably about $250 million, literally since he's started kind of becoming the tribal leader of the whole meme stock frenzy. It's really been fascinating to just watch this Roaring Kitty guy literally put out a tweet that can cause the stock to go up 100% overnight. And it's really, really fascinating to watch. Because what you're seeing is what is called the herding effect in finance. I had a dissertation committee member named David Hirschleifer. I cannot spell his name for you. Hirschleifer. I think that's how you spell his name. He's one of the most well-known people on the planet when it comes to this particular thing. And so what he used to write papers about, and he was on my dissertation committee, so I had to impress him, which was really hard to do because he's super smart. Um, is he would talk about how people, when they invest, they tend to just follow the crowd. Human beings in general tend to follow the crowd. In fact, there are studies out there that actually say that 70% of all people will follow the crowd, even if they know that the crowd is wrong. 70% of the world is full of sheep. So that maybe that's why I offend so many people because if I offend you, I get it. Maybe you're mad because I'm not following the crowd like you. I have enough confidence in my ideas to know that I don't have to follow anybody. I want to lead. I don't want to follow. And so with GameStop, you have this interesting thing where when Roaring Kitty puts out the call, everybody shows up, the stock goes through the roof. And all these people, mostly like these misguided 22-year-old men, who are already, they don't understand that this actually borders on the gambling culture. This is connected really to the same energy behind sports betting and all that, which I've told you all about in terms of an economic danger that is emerging right now that's government sanctioned. It's almost like the government, it's like pharmaceutical companies selling crack. That's what I see when I see, you think about the opioid crisis and what happened when pharmaceutical companies legalized and legitimized opioids. And then suddenly everybody's addicted because they're like, oh, it must be okay because they said it's all right. And even with weed, again, I have nothing against cannabis and CBD and all that. I got CBD oil in the other room. I need it because you get 52 and your knee starts acting weird for no reason. Um, but when they start manipulating the stuff and start doing these chemical compounds that create specific reactions from you, it's very dangerous. It gets very, very dangerous. And so what's happened is a lot of you know this. Let me know if you've noticed this. A lot of the younger people, like in their 20s and stuff and early 30s, because it's like we said, weed is okay. You got people that literally think it's okay to come to work every day smelling like weed. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't think that we're not in an age yet where that's okay, where I can just people who don't smoke it can hug you or give you a handshake even and smell it on you. And if they're smelling it on you, they don't want to hire you. They don't want to work with you like that. And it makes me very sad because I've had two young people in their 20s I had to fire because they would be high at work. And I'm like, and I didn't even know it. I would think because I'm so naive about drugs and alcohol and all that. I wouldn't even know if somebody's high. I can't look at their pupils and tell. I would just think, okay, maybe she's sleepy. Maybe he's just not that smart. And people say, don't you see that, Boyce? She's high right now. She's high as a cat. I'm like, what? What? And it made me sad. So my point is to say that when they start legitimizing things at a government level, we start to think, oh, this must be okay. And here's the thing. I'm gonna just break it to you, and I promise we're going back to Roaring Kitty and GameStop. But y'all know me. I got to paint the whole picture. Here's something that you just really gotta understand. The government don't care about you. They are not your friend. They are not, you live in a capitalist society. They care about money. Money matters more than people to them. If they cared about you, they wouldn't be promoting all this fast food that's killing. They would have economic incentives to make healthy food cheaper than unhealthy food, but they don't do that. They're like, no, because McDonald's pays good. McDonald's got they pay the politicians. When Michelle Obama came in, bless her heart, she came in. Well, I think she's one of the realest first ladies we ever had. You can think what you want about Barack and his politics, but Michelle was real because Michelle didn't like all the fakeness in the White House. So Michelle comes into the White House, and the first thing she tried to do was encourage people to eat healthy, and she encouraged people to exercise. Anybody remember that? How many of y'all remember when Michelle was all about healthy living and healthy eating and doing jumping jacks and whatever, right? And she made a comment where she said something like, um, well, I know I love McDonald's French fries too, but then I realized I can't have too many. But they're like, oh no, we can't have the first lady talking bad about fast food. So what happened then was the food lobby came in and they were like, we want to help the first lady in her initiative. We want to be supportive. So they came in and they put the hammer down and they basically used their economic power. Again, there's money again, there's money consciousness. Money drives a lot of things in your society. So money, in fact, money is so powerful, it can take the wrong thing and make you think the wrong thing is the right thing. It can take something that's bad and make it look good. So they with all their economic power, they got her to change her message. Her message went from watching what you eat and exercising to just exercise. She didn't talk about the food anymore. She didn't say, avoid this and don't eat that, or make sure you eat more of this or eat less sugar. No, she said, everybody, let's do some jumping jacks. And so what you have is you have these gyms that are full of all these people that are working their butts off in the gym and they're not losing weight because you're eating this terrible food. And again, so that shows an example where money kind of drives everything. And now another profit center is now, pharmaceutical companies are like, oh, we've got this drug called Ozempic. And if we give you this drug, then that'll make everything go away. So it's like, so the answer is always like, here, take this pill, whatever. And this stuff is not done to your benefit, right? There are natural ways that they could do this, but it's not going to be as profitable. So, long story short, the money kind of drives everything. The money's the motive. Now, let's get back to herding effects and what's going on with GameStop and everything else. So, when I see GameStop and what's happening with this roaring kitty guy, first thing that comes to mind is this. If you would ask me what is the true value of GameStop stock, I would say, I don't know, maybe about $5 or something, maybe five. I got to go look and see what the analysts are saying, but that stock is worth almost nothing. AMC might be worth like a penny, maybe 30 cents or something. And so when you've got this guy, Roaring Kitty, who's got all this power, and then other people that are connected to him, you can't put it all on him. But I think that there should be deeper investigations by the SEC, because I feel like there is some degree of market manipulation. What you're having is this scenario where, for whatever reason, this guy has the power of an economic god to elevate this stock whenever he wants, and he's made hundreds of millions of dollars by doing this. Now, he owns a lot of shares in GameStop, and perhaps he legitimately believed that GameStop is a great investment, but the facts don't seem to support that at this point. In fact, actually, just last night, if you noticed, did anybody pay attention? Let me know if you noticed this. GameStop stock had shot up like crazy yesterday. I think it went up over 100% in a day or so. It was a lot. And then overnight, it kept going up. It was just climbing and climbing and climbing. And then this morning, and last night, if you were in prime class last night, I told you all we were talking about GameStop, and I said, be careful because these stocks will break your heart. It's like dating the most beautiful woman in the world who might shoot you in the head while you're sleeping. And lo and behold, look at the stock this morning. That stock collapsed like a brick. Well, why did it fall like a brick? Well, because reality slapped the numbers in the face. Reality came in, and AMC, or sorry, GameStop released its earnings report, and they said, yeah, well, in the previous quarter we made 1.2 billion, but in this quarter we made only 800 million. So we had a massive drop in sales this quarter compared to last quarter, or it was either last quarter or the same quarter last year, one of the two, I can't remember. And so anyway, so this stock is now dropping. And so with this whole situation with Roaring Kitty and GameStop, a lot of the things that I'm seeing are very disturbing to me. Also, the people who think that they are investing by following the Roaring Kitties of the world, you're not actually investing. What you're doing is you are gambling. I'm not saying that gambling's bad. I've gambled, but I know the difference between gambling and investing. Investing is where you purchase healthy assets and you hold them for a significant amount of time, so that the natural growth in the economy feeds into your economic progress. That's investing. Investing is where I sacrifice something today with the expectation that at some point it's going to turn into something meaningful later on down the road. Gambling is where I just throw some stuff out there and I'm just hoping through sheer luck and chance that everything kind of goes my way. So effectively, when you buy GameStop stock, here's my point. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm saying, here's my point. When you buy GameStop, what you're basically doing is you're leaning on luck. You're hoping that the frenzy continues. You're hoping that more people come in, almost like an MLM, multi-level marketing, or just like one of those blessing looms. Remember those blessing looms that everybody was sending, like they would send you a nice little email. We want to make sure everyone in our community stays blessed. So if you put $100 in the blessing loom, you'll have $800,000 come to you in 6 weeks. Anybody remember those blessing looms? And I saw it and somebody sent it to me. I was like, how does that work? How do 10 people put in $100 and turn that into 50,000? I don't, that doesn't, the math ain't really mathing right now, but that's what happens when you have this thing, the phenomenon. Alan Greenspan, the former chairman of the Federal Reserve, referred to this as irrational exuberance, which basically is like being on financial crack. Like money will turn you into a crackhead. Money will have you believing 2 plus 2 is 80. Like really. And so somebody, if they sound good and they use certain language that makes you kind of like, yeah, that's right, brother. We got to do this for the community. We got to trust each other. We got to build. They'll come in and be like, yeah. So if you give me $100 and he gives me $100, then we'll have $8,000, and then I'll put in $200, and then we'll have another $100,000, and then everybody's gonna be rich. And I'm like, this sounds like something out of the Bible. Like when Jesus had one, I don't know the story because I don't go to church, but it was a story like what was it? Like he had a fish and some bread or something. He fed like 8,000 people. That's what I mean. And so it's leaning on like this stuff that doesn't quite add up to reality or logic. So what tends to happen with these blessing looms, which are basically Ponzi schemes, is that you're kind of playing a game of a financial game of musical chairs, and what you're doing is you know that there ain't enough chairs for everybody, but everybody thinks they're going to get a chair. Everybody thinks they're going to get paid. And what tends to happen is that there are some people in the middle, maybe the early movers, who do get paid. And then the people who arrive last, because they're reacting to what they're seeing, those people are the ones who get hit. Those are the ones who lose. And the same thing is I think it happens here when you're talking about GameStop. There are plenty of people who make money with GameStop stock. The early adopters, the people that are pulling the levers, the roaring kitties, and the people next to him, they're the ones who where he says, "Hey, I'm gonna tweet tomorrow about GameStop. I'm gonna put a tweet of a monkey, and the monkey's gonna be eating a banana, but the banana's really gonna be a cheeseburger that's shaped like Ronald Reagan. And when I put the tweet up, everybody's gonna go buy this stock. So you're sitting next to Roaring Kitty. Roaring Kitty is giving you something that really is tantamount to inside information. That's what that is. The idea that Roaring Kitty knows, and Elon Musk has done this. Elon Musk has done this, in my view. Donald Trump has done this, in my view. There are people who know that their actions can manipulate the price of an asset. There are people who know who can do these things. And for whatever reason, it's not properly regulated. I'm not a lawyer. I don't work for the SEC, but I'd like to understand why in the world would you just let somebody who knows they can move the market like that? Like if I know that I can go get everybody to go buy a stock and I can buy it before I make my announcement, I can buy it at 20. And I know that if I tell everyone to go buy it, it's going to go up to 1,000 or 500 or whatever. Why would someone not tell me like that's not cool? That's not legal. It's almost like with boxing. You know how in boxing, you boxers can't go out and get in a street fight because boxers have hands that are registered with the police or something. They're like lethal weapons because you know how to fight and you can hurt somebody. Mike Tyson would punch a guy one time and damn near kill him. So they would just tell boxers like, look, you can't do what everybody else is doing. You can't go out here and go punching people because you got mad at a bar fight. We're going to give you extra charges because you have extra power, because with great power comes great responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. Spider-Man's uncle said that in the movie. And so in my view, when I look at a roaring kitty, I say, my Lord, man, this guy, for whatever reason, I don't know how he did it. He must be a smart dude. I mean, God bless him. But he has a tremendous amount of power. He's been able to convince millions of people that this worthless stock is actually worth much more than it is. And so he knows that he can tweet, he can hold a live stream, he can do whatever, and this stock will fly based on the things that he says. I think that that's something that is dangerous and should be regulated. I also want to encourage you because I care about you. I'm not really worried about I'm not worried about the people that are going and just herding into the stock. And if you decide to buy it, I'm not here to make fun of you. I'm not here to judge you. I hope that that does not sound like I'm doing that because that's not it. I'm not here. I don't tell people what to do. I don't even give investing advice. How many of y'all know that I have to say this because people sometimes think that I do. They miss it. Give me a yes if you understand. This is not investing advice. This is not investing advice. Give me a yes. Okay. I have to make that clear so that when people come back and say, Dr. Boyce said to do this and do that. No, I didn't. I said this is what I would do. That's it. That's it. I don't give you voting advice. I just tell you what I see. So with that being said, the roaring kitty situation is very disturbing to me. I wouldn't dabble in that space as an investor. I would not ever invest in GameStop stock. I would not ever invest in GameStop stock. I would not invest in GameStop stock. However, if I feel like gambling, okay, sure. 'Cause, me and my wife went to Vegas, and my wife, she likes blackjack. I don't like blackjack. I like games I can have a little more control in. I love poker. I told you I'm good. But every poker player is confident and thinks that they're the best poker player in the world. But I got a little evidence. I've won tournaments with 800 people in it. So I'm pretty, I got some skill in poker. So so when I know I'm gambling, gambling's cool. So it's not a matter of saying that you should or should not do something. Do you understand? It's not a matter of saying you definitely shouldn't or definitely should. It's really a matter of making sure you know what you're getting into. It's a matter of making sure you know what it is. It's just like dating. Like if you say, "Hey, should I if I date somebody, should I look for my wife or should I go for a one night stand?" I would say, "Well, I can't judge that. I can't tell you what you should want. I can only tell you that you need to make sure you know what it is. Because if you think it's a one night stand and she thinks you're going to be her husband, it could get real messy real fast." Right? So as long as everybody knows what it is, then it's okay. So if you know what it is and you say, "Hey, I feel like gambling. I'm about to throw some bones and make a bet on GameStop stock because I believe these suckers gonna keep on buying. They're gonna push the price up." By all means, have fun and go for it. But don't make the mistake a lot of young people are making where they really think that they are investing. They really think they're investing, and that's not investing. You don't get on a tricycle and think that you're driving a sports car. Yeah, you're not. That's not investing, my friend. That's gambling. And the thing about investing that's so hard to help people understand is that most situations that really talk about giving you fast money are not real. Most of the time, when it seems too good to be true, it typically is. And so when somebody, and this is, in fact, this bothers me, this breaks my heart. I've had reports from people who've told me that because there are these scammers on the internet, and I've got some people that trust me, and so the scammers will use that to pretend to be me. So what they do is they do something that I never do, that I'll never do. They slide in people's DMs and they pretend to be Dr. Boyce Watkins. And because they've been studying me, they learn how to they speak like me in the chat and everything else. Like, "Hey, brother, hey, how's your Bitcoin doing?" And they get people to invest lots of money. They say, "Hey, give me $5,000 and I could turn it into $50,000 in a week." And unfortunately, there are people, some that are in this group, and my heart goes out to you, who've been taken by that. And I want to say, number one, I will never slide in your DMs. I only slide in my wife's DM. That's the only DM I want to be caught sliding in. Number two, if I say give me $5,000 and I'm gonna turn it into 50, that's not realistic. So if something feels too good to be true, be really careful. Make sure you see the money before you start committing to something, because there are people that will sell you something that is just a false dream. And I think that this GameStop frenzy is going to hurt a lot of people. There are lots of people, particularly young. It's mostly attracting like young men. Like most of the people that follow Roaring Kitty are like these like 20 somethings who want to just sort of make a quick dollar. And again, I think that that's fine. I'm not judging any of that. I say be careful. We've talked about the sports betting culture and what that's going to do in terms of ruining so many people's lives. But when you start investing, just understand that sometimes you can't get around delayed gratification. You can't get around time. You can't get around sacrifice. You can't. And it makes me very sad because you have so many people in our society, particularly young people. And we've talked about why the Gen Zers are getting slaughtered by this economy. We talked about this. It's unfair. Inflation is out of control. It's unfair. Housing prices out of control. That's unfair. Jobs are not paying what they used to pay. That's unfair. Student loans are ridiculous. That's not fair. None of that's fair. So what I've said to you is that we have to level the playing field for our children, because your children are going to be in that 20 something category. And so by preparing, I said, my words came out funny, but by preparing in advance and investing for that child when they're young, then you can help them to avoid that struggle. Because make no mistake about it, America is a country that is full of money. There is money everywhere, and part of the reason that I decided to do this economic consciousness class and do it daily, every single day. I've never done a class 7 days a week. That's a lot of that's a huge burden. Part of the reason I did that was because I said, okay, maybe if we just talk about the things that I'm seeing, and learn how to just see and spot where the money resides, and then understand where the money does not reside. We can have a subconscious awareness of where money's located, which will literally allow the energy of money to attract you. When they say money is energy, that's 100% true, and energy is power. So money is definitely a form of power, and I want you to be able to see where the power actually lives, and I also want you to understand when something just isn't real or something's riskier than you think. With GameStop, there are a couple of theories I'm going to mention here from the field of finance. And actually, when we get done, by the way, I'm going to give you a stock that I just invested in just because I every now and then I like to just tell you guys what I'm looking at, what I like. So remind me to do that. And also, make sure you're on the text list, and I'll send you the link if you want to do a $1 trial in the Prime program. And that's where we talk about stock options and generating income from stock options. So, a lot of what you'll like about the class too is I literally show you like I open up my app and we do a screen share and I show you exactly where the money is, exactly how to get it, and exactly how to have the money in your account by tomorrow, right? So this is good stuff. So make sure you get on the text list. You can get on there by texting the word morning, MORNING to 87948. So make sure you text morning to 87948 if you haven't done it yet. All right, so let me give you a couple of concepts that you can help to you can understand to get a framework of what's happening here. So basically, herding behavior occurs when a lot of people sort of do the same thing, almost like a herd of animals. What drives herding behavior? You may ask that. What makes somebody participate in GameStop stock? When they see it kind of moving. Well, there's FOMO. FOMO is very big, fear of missing out. Social validation. A lot of people make financial decisions based on what other people are doing and thinking. We covered that yesterday where we talked about the things that drive people to spend. All right. And by the way, we've done well over 100 lectures in this training so far. If you want to go see them all and have access to all of them and share them with your family, just go to drboycedaily.com. That's drboycedaily.com. It's all right there. All right. What else? What else can drive it? Also, there are if you have if you have an influential figure, the influential figure can kind of make people make a move. There's also an appeal to being part of a collective. So what Roaring Kitty seems to have done is created like almost like this movement, like almost like a white people civil rights movement with money or something. And it was sort of like they had this common enemy. The common enemy was somehow they decided that the people that are short sellers are all bad. And I don't know, I still am trying to understand what makes them so terrible. But anyway, he convinced everyone that they're bad. And so what they started doing was pushing up the price of the stock to do a short squeeze on the short sellers. The short squeeze is where they have to start buying the shares back because they're losing so much money on the short sale. And don't worry about why. But what that does is it has a feedback loop. So if I'm a short seller and I sell the stock short, then I'm hoping the price will go down so I can buy it back later at a cheap price. But what they do is they say, no, let's push the stock up. So when the price is going up, I'm sitting there and I'm sweating as a short seller because I'm like, holy crap, I sold it for 50. I don't want to have to buy it for 90. I don't have to buy it for 150. That's scary. So what I then do is I get out of my position. I say, okay, I've lost $1 billion. Let me go buy up a bunch of shares of the stock. Well, what happens when you buy a stock or when millions of people are buying a stock or when lots of people are buying lots and lots of shares of a stock? If the demand for the stock goes up, what happens to the price? What happens? It goes up. It keeps going up. So it becomes this crazy recursive feedback loop that ends up shutting down trading of the stock because when the stock moves too much and it starts getting crazy, the market has these tripwire mechanisms where everything shuts down until the market can calm down. So anyway, the other aspects of herding behavior and irrational exuberance is a lot of herding can cause a lot of volatility. So that's what you're seeing with GameStop stock is the stock's just going up and down a lot. There are lots of accusations of market manipulation. I personally feel that something's being manipulated here. There's no way you can have hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars just swashing around without somebody with extreme financial awareness and keen insight and access to inside information not finding a way to get some of that money. Like you can't convince me that there aren't some players in the center of this. Also, the same thing I believe happens in crypto too. I think crypto is another market that gets manipulated. There are people in there that are literally like, "Oh wow, we got these people on the hook. Let's get them swashing over here and swashing over there." And a lot of about investing is really about timing. So the question is, it's just like basketball. You know, you're watching a lot of y'all watching the Celtics play the Mavericks in the NBA Finals, and one of my favorite players, Jalen Brown. You know, I hope I get to talk to him. I met his brother, and after the finals, I'm going to try to reach out and connect with him if he's available. But anyway, you know, if in basketball, a lot of times playing defense is about getting to the spot first, or that's the difference between getting a charging foul versus a blocking foul, right? So getting to the spot first is really critical for investing. Being proactive instead of reactive is massive. And this is one of the reasons why I've challenged the culture in terms of us as a community being very reactive to things. Instead of us waiting for things like, say, gentrification to happen and then getting mad about it, my argument is that maybe we can see it coming and then react before it actually occurs. That was how in college, that was how I made straight A's in college. It was very easy for me to make straight A's in college, and I had the highest grade point average of all the black students on campus. And people say, "Well, how did you do that? Are you a genius?" I said, "No, I'm not a genius. That's certainly not true." I said it's easy. I just do stuff before everybody else. I don't procrastinate. I don't wait to try to study for the test 2 days before the test. I study really hard for the test about a month before the test. So I'm just a couple of weeks ahead of you. But by the time the class is over, we're gonna know the same stuff. You're gonna know the same thing I know. It's just I learned it a couple of weeks before you, which means I got an A on every quiz and I was more prepared for the exam. I had more time for the concepts to sink into my head. So it was simply a matter of being proactive versus reactive. So here's what I'm saying to you. The ability to be proactive is actually linked to other aspects of community and family success and cultural success. Proactive is also connected to this thing called delayed gratification, the ability to sacrifice now so you can win later. Hey, that's it. It's all the same thing. It's all in the same big pool of like principles of success. So when you look around and you see people that are kind of struggling, you might want to ask yourself: Are they embracing a culture of delayed gratification, or are they embracing a culture of instant gratification? Are they embracing a culture of being proactive, or is their culture pretty much reactive? Do they just sit around unprepared, not thinking about the future, and then wait for something terrible to happen and then say, "Oh my God, life is so hard. Why are y'all doing this to me? I'm so oppressed." What do y'all think? Process that. I mean, just real basic stuff. So with investing, same thing is true here. People that move first, that have information, are able to convert information into action, tend to just do better financially overall. They do better in life. They do better in school. They do better at everything. And so what gives the roaring kitties too much of an advantage, in my opinion, is that because they have this inside information on what roaring kitty's going to do next, they have the early mover advantage. They get posted up before the stock even moves. This is my suspicion. This is what I really believe. I believe that they say, okay, we're about to do a tweet and a live video, and we're gonna do something really corny and goofy, which makes it seem trendy. Like I'm gonna show up wearing, wearing like a three-piece suit, but instead of the whole suit, I'm gonna cut one pants leg off and replace it with a big sock that looks like a banana peel, and I'm gonna wear like a hat that looks like one of those hats that you wear in the Kentucky Derby, and whatever, and put a clown nose on my face so that I look trendy and cool. And when I do that, everyone's gonna show up and say this is so amazing, and they're all gonna jump into this stock because I'm gonna tell them to. And so before we do that, let's make sure that we're positioned so that we're going to buy the stock at 10 or 20. And then when the stock rises to 80, 90, or 100, we're going to make a killing. I think that there's something like that happening here. And that's why I would encourage you to be careful about participating, because this to me violates a lot of the fundamental rules of what investing is really supposed to be about. The true reality is that GameStop is not a great company. They are in deep financial trouble. They're losing money by the boatload. AMC, I like AMC actually. I'm rooting for AMC because I go to the movies all the time. I don't go to GameStop anymore. I mean, who the hell goes to a GameStop location. Like, you don't buy games at GameStop. I like video games. If you come to my YouTube channel, yesterday I was playing Call of Duty and I was playing live. If you want to come in, just come in and hang out and talk to me, like ask me financial questions, or whatever. But yeah, I have that side of me. It's fun. I love to play Call of Duty. But I didn't buy my game at GameStop. I bought it online. Why in the hell would I go to a game store when I can just get everything I need on the internet? So I don't know how well GameStop is adapting to a changing environment, but I don't think that they're a strong company. So and even if they were a strong company, focusing all your energy on one company is the absolute worst way to invest anyway. You're supposed to diversify. You're supposed to spread your money out. Whenever you hear about an athlete or an entertainer who says, I invested my money and I went broke, I lost everything, I guarantee you, I bet every nickel in my bank account that that person invested in a way that was fundamentally incorrect. Because if you are diversified, you are not, it's almost impossible for you to go broke. If you're properly diversified, it's almost impossible for you to go broke. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer a few of your questions before we go. We can do some Q&A. I'm done talking about GameStop. I mean, unless you have another angle or another question you'd like to ask, put your question in the Q&A section. And let me mention the stock that I like. It's not as exciting as GameStop, but I think long term, I think it's a good stock to consider adding to the portfolio. It's Procter and Gamble, P&G. I don't have the ticker symbol. I think the ticker symbol might be like PG or something like that. But if you go to your app and you type in Procter and Gamble, you can find it. So feel free to add that to your portfolio. I'm going to add that today. And then also, if you are getting started with investing, we have something we call the Black Wealth Master Plan, which is basically the $5 a day plan that we're promoting to every single family that will listen, where literally if you invest just $5 a day, which is less than the cost of McDonald's value meal for your child when they're young, your child will have at least $100,000 or more by the time they're in their mid 20s. This will help them to avoid the economic pain that so many young people are experiencing. And also, the whole time you're investing, that money is yours. So don't just think you're doing it for your kids, you're doing it for yourself. And one of the core beliefs we have in the Black Business Schools, we believe deeply in family and and all the wealth that gets lost by neglecting the power of family. And so if you understand family and what family means, it means that my success is your success. Your success is mine. It's an ecosystem. It's not like if I do this for my child, I'm neglecting myself. No, you can invest that money for your, I'm not asking you to invest $5 a day for your children per se, just yet. I want you to do that for you because that's your money. That's your capital base. You control that. It's like a little company. You have $100 and something thousand dollars. That's like a little corporation, especially if you're making income off this money. And then when you're ready, you pass that down to your kids. You let them take over when they're prepared. So anyway, if you want to go and take a look, you can go to blackwealthmasterplan.com. That's blackwealthmasterplan.com. There's stuff there you can grab, or you can also go to b1investing.com. All that stuff is free. Feel free to go to b1investing.com. And the stock is Procter and Gamble. Okay, so let me answer some of your questions here, and then we're going to bounce out for today. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Drop the link. I don't have the link. The Prime link. The Prime link. You know what, Roger? I'm going to text that out to you guys right after class. So text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. Text morning to 87948, and I'll send it to you this afternoon. And also, if you can't get it through the text, maybe you live in another country, then you can also email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, and they can get you access to the link. Support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Do I think that AMC stock will bounce back? It could bounce back, but what the problem is that people like me, we can look at the fundamentals of a company and tell you what it's worth, but we don't know when Roaring Kitty is going to do a live stream and get everybody riled up and get them all buying AMC. So it's like predicting tornadoes. You can't predict that cultural tornado. So nobody knows when AMC is going to bounce back. AMC is pretty much a worthless stock, just like Donald Trump's company, DJT, Trump Media. That's a pretty worthless stock, but its support is boosted by Trump supporters who want to see him elected and all that. And but there's no fundamental justification for the price point. Michael says, what do you think about me selling my $5 a day assets for full access to the Prime program? Well, I'm not going to tell you what to do at all. I will say that there's benefits either way. The Prime program is designed around one goal. The main goal is income. And in investing, you want to think about what are your objectives. So, like, for example, when I sit down with students in one-on-one sessions, and we talk about the strategy or shaping the strategy that they might want to pursue. First thing I ask is, I ask things like, are you married? How many kids you have? And what do you do? How much have you saved? And what is your goal? What are you trying to do? So, like yesterday, when I sat with a mom who told me that she wanted to be able to take her kids on more trips, I said, okay, so would you say that like an extra $2,000 a month would get you there? And she said, yeah. I said, okay, well, let's construct a portfolio. I'll show you how to generate that extra $2,000 a month. But she had to have a capital base too, which means it helped that she was a saver already. She already had money saved, she had money invested. I said, okay, here's how you can safely apply this and generate the income that you're looking for. So ultimately, it's a personal decision in terms of what your objective is. So it's up to you to decide how you want to proceed. Barbara says, how much do you need to invest in Prime to see any passive income? It kind of depends on the amount, though. But I mean, I've seen people invest $1,000 and generate passive income. It's not going to be as much as you would have if you had more to apply and invest. And also, I don't allocate the majority of my portfolio to generating income. The question becomes, how much income do you need? Because remember, income to get income, you have to sacrifice growth sometimes. And so, if I let's say I'm bringing in $10,000 a month and my bills are 7,000 a month, then why would I need and if even if I could bring in 20,000 a month, why would I do that if I don't need the money? Like, why not just let it grow, leave it in your stocks, let it grow, pick some healthy portfolio options and leave it there as part of your wealth and your financial security. Really, I would say that the two big elements of financial security are wealth and income. If you have wealth and income, you're good. And in fact, I just started a mastermind, and in the mastermind, I called it the Wealth and Income Network. I said, "Oh, that's cool. It's WIN, right? So it's like win. So it's like the win mastermind." And I said, "Yeah, because those are the two things that we. If you have these things, then you are financially secure. If you have wealth and income, you're in good shape." So anyway, and if you want to apply for the mastermind, you can email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. You have to apply, and it's more so for people that want to engage in more advanced strategies, want to get more direct one-on-one sort of support. And then also, if your capital base is at least 40,000 and above. So it's not for everybody, but if you're not ready, that's okay. You can do the Prime program or something else that fits you. Okay, so let's see. Miles says, what is the fifth reason people tend to overspend? You forgot to mention it yesterday. Oh gosh, Miles, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that I forgot to mention the fifth. I apologize. I don't even remember the whole list. But I will say that people tend to overspend largely because of social pressure. That's a big one. A lack of financial consciousness can cause overspending, meaning that you're not aware of where your money's going, so you're not going to know where your money went. It's like when we're not time conscious, time goes by really fast. Like if you're staring at a clock, you're very time conscious. You're watching tick, 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 tick. Time is much slower when you're staring at the clock because you're really super conscious. You're watching it like a hawk. But if you are not staring at the clock, if you go to sleep, then you're not conscious. And so time goes by really fast. You could be, I was on an airplane from LA to Chicago and I went to sleep. And when I woke up, I was in Chicago. So why did time go by fast? Why did time just disappear? Well, because I wasn't conscious of it. So the same thing is true with money. When you're not money conscious, your money disappears. Emotional triggers. I see someone mention. Thank you, Antoinette. Emotional triggers, social influence, instant gratification, marketing, and limited time. There we go. That's the list. That's great, actually. So maybe I did go through all five. We did that yesterday. Let's see. What is the payment method for the dollar fee? Basically, the credit card. That's what we do in the Black Business School. So you put down the dollar, and then if you like it, then you can stay the next month, and it's $3.99 per month after that. And most people that stay, everybody that stays, feels like it's worth it. If it does not feel worth it, then we do not want you to stay. We want you to go because I only want you to invest in the Black Business School if you feel that you're getting at least twice as much in return for what you invested. So that's why we give you the $1 trial, so you can come in there, try it out, and see how you feel. And then if you want to stay, I think it's worthwhile. It's definitely cheaper than college. College charge you a lot, and they didn't give you a lot. Have you watched the movie Dumb Money? Yes. I need to go watch it again though, because I kind of want to watch it in the context of what's been happening, but I did watch a big chunk of it. Watson says, I have a handshake agreement with one of the largest construction companies in the world. I can't disclose the name, but I need a lender willing to provide me $500,000 to $1.5 million to kickstart the project. Once I secure the funds, I'm just one phone call away from moving forward. Do you know of any good lenders, Dr. Boyce? Um, I mean, I think anybody could be a good lender if it's a good deal. So there are these lenders. There's actually this private credit market that's really emerged where you've got these companies that are loaning money, all kinds of money to businesses, but they're loaning the money at exorbitant rates. Like if you look at some of the deals that happen in real estate, some of these deals are really bad lending deals if you measure it based on interest rates. But what they're basically doing is they're taking a debt situation and it's really equity. Really, they're taking an equity position in your company and they're buying a part of your business. So they're all over the place. If you look up private credit lenders and stuff like that, there's a ton of them out there. Um, but obviously that's not the best deal in my opinion. I would go to a traditional bank if you could. I mean, just present the proposal. If it's solid and it looks good, then and there's a lot of times people will want collateral and stuff like that. It's really hard, to go and without experience, without anything that's like a capital asset that's backing this, to just go borrow a bunch of money. I've seen people try to do it, but most of the time it's hard to borrow money based on just a really good idea. I think people want to see something that shows that it's already executed, you've already invested in it, you've already got it moving, you're already making money, and then they want to add to that. But if you say, I haven't done anything, I don't have any experience, but I want you to give me $1 million to go find out if I can do it, that's a harder sell, I think. Not to say that that's the case here, but that does happen. What I think about GE, I think GE has become a much better company. I haven't looked at the stock lately, but I do own it. And it had a lot of bad years, but I think that those bad years are behind it. Let's see, Antoinette. Good morning, Dr. Boyce. I hope this is okay. I ran across a YouTube video yesterday, and the guy reminded me of your discussions. Dr. Amos Wilson. Yeah. Dr. Amos Wilson. Whew, Lord, I love Amos Wilson. Let me show y'all something. Hold on. Amos Wilson wrote the blueprint for Black Power. I don't know if y'all can see it. I got a green screen, so you can't see it. But anyway, I got his book right here. This is actually the book I was thinking about covering after Dr. Anderson's books, because we read Claude Anderson books every Wednesday night at 8:30. And this book is almost 900 pages, and I cannot wait to dig into it. So yes, I'm a huge fan of Amos Wilson, and I respect him immensely for the amount of work that was required to write this big, gigantic, big fat book. I have the book. I literally have the book right next to me every time I'm reading Dr. Anderson. In fact, right now next to me, I have Dr. Claude Anderson's book, The Black History Reader, next to Amos Wilson's book, The Blueprint for Black Power. These are our teachers. These are the people that we should listen to. To hell with whatever your elementary school teacher was teaching you or whatever. It's called The Blueprint for Black Power. That's the name of the book. Patricia. All right. A couple more questions. What are the best stocks to get started with? Let's see here. If you text the word stock to 87948, text stock to 87948, there is a list of AI stocks that will come to you automatically that you can get started with. And also with blackwealthmasterplan.com, there's the $5 a day plan, and I make recommendations on some ETFs you can look into. It's called Dumb Money. That's the name of the movie. Do you like Apollo for long-term stock? I don't have it in front of me, Christian, so I can't speak to it right now. So it may be in stock market class. We do portfolio power play on Tuesday. That's when I'm more prepared to answer questions about stocks because I can look them up and stuff like that. What's going on with the Nvidia stock split? Basically, Nvidia is doing a 10-to-1 stock split, Carol. Um, I think Nvidia is just such a powerhouse company. It doesn't seem to have any drop in momentum. So maybe a strategy, if you like Nvidia and you want to be a part of what's going on with that company, you could maybe you could buy the stock and do a stop loss order or a trailing stop loss order where you just tell you put in an order where if the stock drops by a certain percentage, you're going to automatically sell. That can protect any gains that you make. That's actually something I think I'm going to do because Nvidia stock is very risky because people don't know when it's going to collapse. Because if any bad news pops off with AI, like if anything comes out that says AI isn't going to make as much money as they think, then Nvidia will collapse. That stock will drop. Maya says, I'm curious, why do you think Robert Kiyosaki says that savvy investors don't diversify? He says to focus on one area with proper mentorship and education. Robert Kiyosaki just has a perspective like everybody else does. I mean, I think Robert Kiyosaki also has $1 billion in debt. And so he tends to just believe that debt is okay, even at dramatic levels. Not everything, just because someone has training, that doesn't mean everything they say is the gospel. I could get a group of PhDs in the room and ask them about certain topics, and they're going to disagree. So there are people that believe investing diversification is not as important as it needs to be. I will say the reason you diversify is because you're managing risk. So if you over manage risk in some other way, maybe through stock options, then maybe the need for diversification kind of disappears a little bit, but it doesn't. I don't think it disappears. I'm a believer in spreading your money out. Let's see. Will you be offering the $1 trial in the stock options class? I need the exposure while I'm saving for the class. Christopher, email the support team and tell them that I just said give you the best offer that they can possibly find. So that's support at theblackbusinessschool.com. So email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. Don't forget the THE, and they can take good care of you. Let's see, Ricky, what would you consider a diversified portfolio in terms of the numbers of stock? Well, the research says 22 stocks is the number, but really you could buy one mutual fund like VOO, Victor, Oscar, Oscar, and you'd be pretty well diversified with that. So there are people like if you do the $5 day plan and you're a minimalist and you don't want to do extra work, you can literally just buy the same mutual fund over and over again. It's like taking a multivitamin. I don't take a big long list of vitamins every morning. I have these Centrums for people over 50, and I just take a Centrum and I just pretty much know that I'm probably getting the majority of everything that I need. Now, don't y'all be lecturing me about health and sea moss and all that. My wife does the sea moss. All right, so let's see here. Let's keep going. All right, so last couple questions, and then we're gonna bounce out for today. Let's see here. Lisa says, "What's the best way to make your child the beneficiary of your stock? Make trust your beneficiary and make the child the beneficiary." I say the trust, and then have rules in the trust that dictate how the money gets to the child. I don't believe in handing a whole bunch of money over to children because children are not prepared mentally to responsibly handle money yet. And some of y'all got kids that some of y'all got 40-year-old children that you gave birth to who still are even in their 40s are still not mature and or responsible, right? So ultimately I think that the trust allows you to protect those assets and that family wealth so that they don't blow all your hard work. um Let's see. Calvin says, "Do you know the mechanics of how Donald Trump raised nearly 200 million after his conviction?" I don't know the mechanics. I mean, but I just know the big picture optics of it. They feel he's being persecuted, and so if you are a Trump, if you're anti-Trump, then you see it as he got what he deserved. This guy's a criminal. He broke the law, and I see validation to that. That makes sense. I've always thought Trump was a crook, even 30 years ago, that he broke the law. But I tend to see it as I think all politicians break the law on some level, and all politicians could be prosecuted if you were to nitpick enough. And also, I don't believe that if he were a Democrat, that these same people would have prosecuted him. I don't think they would have been allowed to do that. So if you're a Trump supporter, you see him as being persecuted. Like, okay, they nitpicked and they found this thing, and now they're trying to label him as a convicted felon, which they did successfully. And so the backlash of that is going to be Trump supporters don't tend to, from what I have observed, they don't tend to give a lot of faith and legitimacy to government institutions. They don't believe in institutions, and part of that is the extremism, but then the other part of it is also sometimes these institutions get a little bit fraudulent too. Like I felt like during the pandemic, I was like, I don't believe everything you telling me about these jabs and you telling me to go put stuff in my body, and I don't really know what's really going on. Your incentives are a little bit weird, and you're using these psychological manipulation tactics to get me to comply. I was resistant to that. I'm not gonna lie, So I don't know. I don't know who's gonna win the election. I just kind of think that really when you're talking about what's really gonna solve a problem for you as the head of a household, there are just I don't really think that anybody being in the White House is going to make your life that much better. I think that what's going to make your life better is that you're in the driver's seat of your life and of your family. Let's see here. Okay, Terrence said, "Would you consider featuring a book by any of us who are authors on your website to help increase exposure to our people?" Yeah, I mean, you email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. We do limited amounts of advertising. But the problem with that is that that's actually caused me problems before. Just to be quite frank, I have things where I just wanted to support a black-owned business or support a person, and I just really don't like to be mixed up in stuff no more, to be honest with you. If you wanted me to give you a real honest perspective, I've been a little bit jaded and kind of hurt and shattered by the challenges of doing this sort of thing in the black community and in the age of the internet. The internet is very messy, very sloppy, kind of crazy and chaotic. And it's just I don't know. It's just something that's just like yeah. I mean, half the time, you know what I am. You know what I'm gonna confess something here. I can't. I wish I could add up all the times where I have been my own worst enemy by just being a little too open. Sometimes I'm not saying I want to be closed off. Because I had to really sit back and remember that there's lots of people that love and believe in what I do and have my back, and I appreciate y'all 100%. I love y'all, I really do. But like some of this stuff, I'm like, I don't, and maybe it's just getting older. Like I'm in my 50s now. I don't want to be in messy stuff like that. I just want to get up every day, do Black wealth, talk about what I know really well, and connect to people that just really want what's better for the community. I'm tired of the shit. I'm not saying you're bringing that to me at all. I'm just saying that that's if you want to know like why, for example, we don't have as many people and products and stuff on the platform is because of that. Because what I saw eventually was that there would be people who'd have some goofball scammy thing that they're trying to promote and they would come to me and they'd say, oh, if I get Dr. Boyce to talk about it, then that's going to help me go to the next level and everything else. And some of these people literally, some of them are straight up criminals and convicts. And not that there's anything bad all automatically about being a convict. I believe in ending mass incarceration and giving people second chances, but some people went to jail because they needed to go to jail. And that was my maturing process. And I actually credit my wife for helping me to understand that. So she's actually helped me to become a better judge of character, and to really kind of just see what's around me. And so to be honest with you, that's my reality. And I don't talk about it very much, and I'm not going to bring it up again. But that's what I've had to deal with. I had to really go through that and because it's hurtful. It really hurts when you trust a black person and it doesn't work out or it becomes harmful to you on some level. So um I'm just kind of gonna show up and just keep it simple and do what I do and the things I think I do well, and because that's what gives me peace. So there we go. So I'm going to end on that note before I end up boring you with my reflections. But anyway, it's great to see all of you every morning. I appreciate all of you, and I have a great time talking to you each day. And so make sure you're on the text list, and I'll send you a reminder tomorrow morning when we meet. We meet every single morning at 10 a.m. Eastern for economic elevation, financial consciousness training, and we're going to be back tomorrow. So text the word if you want to get on the text list. Text the word morning MORNING to 87948, and if you text morning to 87948, you'll get that link.